Ladies and gentlemen, it is a warm welcome on Sunday the 6th of November. Oh, we got a spin already. But before I even get time to introduce anything, we've already got a spinner down there. That is how the day is going to go, Tom. My name is Russ Mavley. I'm with Tom Gibson, and we are here to take you through all the racing that is going to happen today. And we go straight to trackside because we are already in, this is for lightweights, and we are already in the practice qualifying. Now, I'm going to... practice qualifying has proven to be, Tom, yesterday, one of the most important sections of the actual race meeting. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it's been extremely close over the course of the last day or so. Effectively, what these drivers here are doing, they're trying to set the fastest time they can, and they're trying to see where they're going to be starting both of their heats today. For anyone who wasn't with us yesterday, we've got a 15-minute qualifying session, of which we've got 10 minutes left on the clock here. We then go into two 10-minute heats for each of the drivers. Then we have a 12-minute semi-final. After that semi-final, we'll be knocking out half of the drivers here today, so we'll just be left with 16 drivers to contest the main event, and they'll be looking to walk away with the British Indoor Karting Championship. To do that, though, they're going to have to beat the man that we're watching right now, two-time BIKC champion Dante Dillon out on circuit, and currently topping the timesheets on a 59.190. That's already getting close to the ultimate pace we saw yesterday, and this is only their first flying lap of the circuit.
Has to be said, Dante Dillon looks like the man to beat here because he has quite a history here. He was a 2021 lightweight champion. He is the reigning champion, and one thing about the competition this year is that we've had over 5,000 entries this year, Tom. And that's about 1,500 more than what we did last year. And it's amazing the number of drivers who have done really, really well in previous competitions but have not made it to the national final. A shout out to Zach Venn, who is not here. Zach Venn is also
champion from last year.
Also BIKC royalty, I would say, and he didn't get through the regionals. So it's the standard here, Tom, is so much higher.
I'll tell you who did get through off the podium last year. Driver, he's currently out in kart 7 at the moment, sitting P5. That's Harris Ahmed. He was third place overall and part of a fantastic battle with Dante at the moment. And there he is popping up on screen. Second year in lightweights, finished third overall. He's had a pretty good run so far, and he's exceptionally quick around this track. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do. And just as we pull up on screen, he's now just popped into third place on a 59.225. It's got a little bit to go to get onto the pace of Dante Dillon, and indeed Harrison Kirkham, who sat there in second place on a 58.930. Two drivers already in the 58s, and we're only, 7 minutes into this qualifying session. I think the pace here is going to be extremely fast.
Fantastic. Got another driver to watch out for, Tom, right? Do you remember Luke Evans from last year?
Yes, Cardiff driver Luke Evans.
Right? Nothing went right for him last year, and he had a really disappointing run, not for lack of effort. And he is back, and I can't, come on, lightning cannot strike twice. You can't have two race weekends, right, 12 months apart in the same competition, and it all go wrong. This was extremely unlucky, and I'm really hoping that Luke has a really good run.
From what I've seen of him, and to see him have a bit of a struggle last year was not what we'd be expecting. Saying that, so one driver who's not struggling, it's Harrison Kirkham, driver number 4. He's currently just behind Harris, and he's on a 58.681, the fastest driver on track, as he just puts a move on Harris. And Harris is going to stick behind him, maybe try and find a way to get back on terms with him. But currently a 1.5 advantage over defending champion Dante Dillon. Kirkham's absolutely flying here.
Has to be said that even though we talk a lot about Dante Dillon being so fast and having the history, he was 2021 lightweight, 2020 featherweight champion. So effectively, he is going for a hat-trick today.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean it's a sure thing. I mean, because already Harrison Kirkham has already put in a lap time that is quicker. It's not like Dante is ahead of the field and is gonna cruise this or anything. He's got some serious competition out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers here that could cause him issues. Driver 20 at the moment, Kieran Eve. We saw his brother Callum racing yesterday in the juniors, and Kieran's currently currently sat up in 4th place at the moment, to 51.940. Just to quickly run through the order with about 6 minutes left on the clock. It's Kirkham for pole at the moment, Dylan in 2nd, Ahmed, who we're watching, currently in 3rd, Kieran Eve, then Lewis Marchant, then Rob Freckleton, Harrison Earl, Blake Parkinson, Tom Shaw, Oscar Buckley, Ross Fitzgerald, McKinley Coburn, Harvey Sharman, Paul Thomas, Luke Mallard and Dan Webber rounding out the field. Currently, the whole field separated by about 1.7 seconds. And that, in reality, isn't all that long out there.
No, indeed, absolutely. So just going a bit, so Dante Dillon there, and still running in 2nd position, Harrison Kirkham. And lap time is probably slightly dropped off on the last lap. We got Kieran Eve, who's only 0.3 seconds behind Harrison Kirkham. Harris Ahmed, and then we've got Lewis Merchant, Rob Freckleton. And we can go, who should we go with? Should we, because we have the power here, right, that we can switch to anybody that we want.
Instead of having like dedicated directors, all we have to do is just need to say a kart number, and they magically appear on the screen. As we say that, Dylan goes back up to the fastest time on a 58.648. He's absolutely flying at the moment. Who should we take a look at? Let's take a look at one of the Scottish boys, one of the drivers who's had one of the biggest drives down. That's driver number 14, McKinley Coburn, qualified through from Dundee. So he's had just a small trek to get down.
Let's go to 14.
Coburn is currently, he's now just jumped into 23. So Coburn currently in 13th place. He's on a 59.635. And McKinley Coburn is a driver who's got a bit of history with BIKC, qualified through last year. And he's just coming out of the pit lane now, as we can see. Moves out the way of Dylan as he's on a qualifying lap, and what we can see, or is that Luke Mallard who's just dropped out the pits? Yes, it was 24 Luke Mallard. But McKinley Coburn, his best results at the moment through BIKC was last year with 14th. And there's 3 drivers from our Scott Kart tracks out there, Daniel McCauley and Mario Dinilov, who are also with us this weekend. But McKinley Coburn currently going through the bottom section of the circuit down towards Mech Bay Corner. It's a nice smooth line, just getting the tail out on the exit there. Not really what you want to be doing under the tunnel. It's a nice clean line through there, throwing it up the ramp. Just try and finish the exit on as you're going up the ramp. Probably try to go towards the middle as you head up to get a good run through those corners. Then up towards Ferrari Walls. He heads past Michael Schumacher. He's then going to come down the ramp, tap the brakes on the way through here just to settle the back of the kart out, and then the double left-hander onto one of the fastest sections. Down the ramp. It's a quick left, quick right, and then through the left-right chicane. You head on to the backside now, through the first one, try and use all the road on the way out, bring the kart back over to the outside, turn in, clip the apex there, stay middle on the exit, good line through that third one, try and open it out, get the power down as quickly as you can. He's going to come through the S's now, he's currently sat at 14, let's see what this lap time will be for him. 1:01.6, so maybe a little bit of a warm-up back there for McKinley Coburn, but it definitely looks like he's got a decent grip on the circuit. Fastest lap for him, 59.6, it's down about a second off what our pole man, Dante Dillon, just started to edge that benchmark a little bit further away as Tom Shaw now moves up into P8, immediately bested by Harrison Earl and Oscar Buckley. So Oscar Buckley up into P7, he's on a 59.0, currently 5 drivers inside the 59-second time, so 58.5 is your pole time. Second Kirkham with 58.6, 58.6 for Rob Freckleton in kart 3, that's a very good time for Rob. Harris Ahmed on a 58.9, and then Lewis Marchant on a 58.9 as well. Kieran Eve on 59.0, as is Oscar Buckley. It's extremely close to the top there, less than half a second, covering our top 7 drivers.
Okay, and the key here is that the qualifying times will mean that they will start both of the heats from the front of the grid, and they will be battling pretty much amongst each other. So what we saw yesterday is that this is why the qualifying is so important, because those top 4 or 5 drivers, as you go through the heats, will end up just locked in combat, and the drivers who have not got a good lap time at this part of the event, they will be further down the grid battling amongst themselves. And once you get locked into the lower end of the grid, it's very hard to get past everybody, to get up into the higher point scoring positions. That will really push yourself through to get a good place in the semi-finals, and then hopefully have a great result in the grand final. So there is a lot riding on this section of the racing. And this is one of those events where you've got to be on it from the word go because of those very reasons. You can't ease yourself into this type of event. You've got to get out there. You've got to get those lap times in absolutely immediately. Get yourself to right up to the top 2, top 3, in order then so you can then battle it out in the heats for the top 2, top 3, and then end up with good positions in the semis, then go through to the final. And also, there's a lot of stuff going on the live stream, on the group chat. Don't be afraid to put anything in there. At the moment, there's a lot of talk about what the M stands for next to the name. That is basically, we've got a new menu here at Team Sport. Don't listen to what Team Sport put in. They don't really know. And so basically, anybody with an M is a meat eater, and anybody that isn't is a vegetarian. And then basically that means that when they're at the fuel bar, we know exactly what food served there. Dave Rich brought this in a couple of weeks ago, in actual fact. Man. That is what the M stands for, next to each name. Right, okay.
You just see checker flag goes out. Dylan's just crossed the line there on a 58.537. He's just moved that benchmark a little bit further away. You see 23, Coburn comes over the line. See what his last lap is. It's a 59.9, so it's not going to be enough to move him up. So the driver's far back into the pit lane. Dylan will be on pole for group number 1. Harrison Kirkham will line up alongside him. Rob Freckleton, Harris Ahmed is row 2. Kieran Eve, Lewis Marchand, row 3. Oscar Buckley, Harrison Earl, Tom Shaw, Harvey Sharman, Blake Parkinson, Paul Thomas, Watts Fitzgerald, Kinley Coburn, Daniel Webber and Luke Mallard. The top 13 drivers there separated by just 9/10 of a second. If that doesn't line up a good fight at the start of this, I don't know what else will.
Once and for all. The M does stand for people who have moved house in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Now that's very important from the racing point of view, obviously. So anybody you see with an M has lot of house moves going on in the last, but they're the people that have moved house. So here we go. Right, now we're going to pull away, and we're 2 by 2 here. And we've got a pace car, and what's going to happen, they're going to go around really, really slowly, and then when they get over to the Dunlop area of the track, the pace car will just accelerate away, and Dante Dillon in pole position will effectively become the pace car. He'll be looking out for that green light, and when we get that green light, we will be racing. Now, we had a couple of false starts yesterday, so let's see if we are going to get away nice and cleanly at the start of the very first race in the heat. So here we go. They are neck and neck coming round to start the first heat. We're waiting. Are we going to get a good start? Is it going to be go gadget cat grease?
You need to stop using that, but looks like Dylan Kirkham's around the inside. So Kirkham from second place has got a very good start and managed to slot in behind. Is all hell's breaking loose behind. Oh, 21's gone round. That's Tan Webber is facing the wrong direction into the barrier. He's definitely not happy with that move. Lights go yellow. Marshall's going to be heading down soon just to get him pointing the right direction once again. And then we'll be able to go back to racing. However, that looks like Rob Freckleton's there in third place.
And this is stressed because now all the driver's eyes absolutely peeled on those yellow flashing lights, because if you just miss it and you just miss the going green by a fraction of a second, then you can be overtaken by 3 karts.
Yeah, it's effectively like a second rolling start here. All the drivers are nose to tail, and we're going to get going as soon as the guys have got the circuit clear. And green once again. So it's Dylan leads the field away as everyone files down the ramp. Such an amazing sight to see all those karts coming down the main stretch. Oh, looks like that's Kieran Eve just throwed it down the inside there of Rob Freckleton. Yes, he's up to third. Rob trying to now defend against Lewis Marchand as Harris Ahmed's now moved down into 5th position, I believe that is. But over the line for the first time is 24 Dante Dillon who leads. Harrison Kirkham second, Kieran Evans third, Rob Freckleton, Lewis Marchand, Harris Ahmed down to 6, Oscar Buckley 7, Harrison Earl, Blake Parkinson, Harvey Sharman is your top 10, and already that top 3 starting to pull a small gap. Dillon, Kirkham, Eve starting to find a bit of breathing room over Rob Freckleton. Lewis Marchand going too wide going up the ramp. We've seen that come to grief over the course of the juniors and indeed the cadets, as it looks like now they're all still through. That back 3 there. in third, in fourth, fifth, and sixth. Look like they've got again a little bit of room over potentially. That's Oscar Buckley there in seventh place. But starting to check out at the front, Dylan, Kirk, and Eve. They're starting to pull a bit of a gap as they go into the top section of the circuit. Dylan already going defensive. Harris down the inside. So it's Harris Ahmed down the inside of Lewis Marchant. He's got back up into P5. It was a very good move just off to the corner of the circuit. But once again, over the line, Dante Dillon leads the way from Kirkham, Eve, and Freckleton. Marchant, and now then it's Ahmed and now Marchant. Earl is now up into 7th. Oscar Buckley in 8th. Harvey Sharman's up to 9th at the expense of Blake Parkinson.
Harrison Kirkham has got some serious pace at the moment. Kieran Eve is in second, but we don't often see Dante Dillon drive defensively. We go charging down to the end of the main straight here, and he's already looking over his shoulder and taking that defensive line in the middle of the track. Going round here, and look at the overspeed that Harrison Kirkham has got, and a little nudge there. Just letting him know, a little tap to say, yeah, I'm here. You're going to have to drive faster. If you're going to stay in front of me, you're going to have to go quicker. And he's got a 59.5 second lap time. That's pretty quick considering the fact that he's tucked up behind Dante Dillon.
Yeah, Sam McKinley-Coburn has just gone over the line on a 59.379, so very, very good time from Coburn. He's down in 14th, trying to make a move as Kieran Eve makes a move down the inside of Kirkham, straight down the inside. So Kieran Eve now tucked up behind Dante Dillon, just giving him a tiny bit of breathing room with that top three, starting to stretch away from Rob Freckleton, who in turn is stretching away from Lewis Marchant, who's managed to get themselves back in front of Harris Ahmed, Harrison Earl, Oscar Buckley, Harvey Sharman, and then Blake Parkinson completes your top 10. Just outside, Ross Fitzgerald, Paul Thomas, Tom Shaw, McKinley Coburn, Luke Mallard, and Daniel Webber after that spin in P16 at the moment. But I've got a feeling here that Kieran Eve's feeling racy. He's already made a couple of good moves already. Now he's got his eyes set on the leader as it sits. So go over the line and see what the gap is this time. Was 2/10, now half a second. As they go in towards the bottom section of the track, Dylan just now trying to stretch away from a very, very racy Kieran Eve. Harvey Sharman now up into 8th place as well. McKinley Coburn's making a move. He's now up to 13th.
Has to be said, right, that is the biggest gap. It's only like a few feet, but that is actually the biggest gap that Dante Dillon has had over the course of this race. Even that in BIKC standards is a very, very slight bit of breathing space. But Kieran Eve second, Harrison Kirkham is in third at the moment, Rob Freckleton. A lot of talk about Rob in kart 2 there, but he's doing a brilliant job. He's in 4th place, and he's only 2.1 seconds behind the leader of this race. Lewis Marchant in 5th. Harris Ahmed is in 6th. Harrison Earl is in 7th. Harvey Sherman is in 8th. Oscar Buckley is in 9th. Blake Parkinson is in 10th. That is your top 10. Okay, here we go. We've got about 4 laps to go, approximately, I would think, as they go over the start-finish line once again. And it's still pretty much stalemate, although Dante Dillon did go very wide there. And that really has Kieran and Harrison are now absolutely all over him, because he definitely went wide going underneath the mezzanine section there. He's driving so defensively here. He's not going to win this race by speed. He's going to win this race by positioning his kart in precisely the right place on the track and making it so difficult for the drivers behind to go through.
Yeah, he's going to have quite a challenge. Harrison Kirkham, the only driver in the 58s that we can see on our timing screen, 58.799, as he's now in pursuit of Kieran Eve, who's right on the rear bumper of the two-time champion. Dylan's defensive to the inside. Is this going to give Kieran Eve the opportunity to get through? And the more these guys fight, the more it's going to work in the favour of Rob Freckleton. He's going to try and get through here. A little bit of a load there from Harrison Kirkham. He's not been able to get off that corner quick enough. You can see him throw his head back. He wasn't happy with that one, as Lewis Marchant is in pursuit at the moment of Rob Freckleton. You've also got Harris Ahmed just behind. Over the line, Harrison Earl, Harvey Sharman, Oscar Buckley, Blake Parkinson. McKinley Coburn is the big mover here so far, though. He's up to 12th position, and he's trying to find his way through. Remember, each position these drivers gain, it's more points, and more points is going to mean they can start further up in the semi-finals. But it's still Kieran Eve just locked into the rear bumper of Dante Dillon. Dillon just taking a little bit of a wider line through the top section there, and this is where Kieran Eve has been quick in this last sector of the circuit. Under the Monster Energy Bridge once again, 3 minutes on the clock. It's probably going to give 2, maybe 3 laps at this sort of pace. Into T1, Dillon not defensive that time, doesn't feel like he needs to. Ahmed though behind, is trying to make the move on Marchand once again. Don't think he was able to get quite past as Dillon goes very wide on the outside of the second hairpin, just shows Kieran Eve the wall and said, if you're going to go past me, mate, you're going to have to do it round the outside, over the line once again. Fastest lap still in the hands of Harrison Kirkham. These drivers all lapping within a couple of tenths of each other. Kirkham now is looking very racy against Eve. He's definitely been able to find another gear in that Biz Evo 3, but the 3 of them are just locked together and they're not able to try and do anything about each other.
And you can just sense a bit of frustration here from 19 Kieran Eve, because going up the up ramp there, absolutely locked on the rear bumper of Dante Dillon. And this is going to be, I think, one of the great defensive drives that we're going to see today in BIKC, because there's no doubt that Dante Dillon realised he didn't have the pace quite early on, and he's made his strategy call quite early. A lot of different lines there going around the corner at the end of the main straight there, and Dante Dillon now with a slight gap in actual fact, and 19 Kieran's going to really have to watch his rear view mirrors for Harrison Kirkham, who wasn't able to benefit when Kieran was locked in behind Dante, but now he's giving some serious grief to Kieran, and that is enabling at last Dante Dillon to move away from the other two. He's probably got a gap of about a second there.
Yeah, so what we think is going to be the final lap, and it's Dillon just has a little bit of breathing room. Freckleton, though, behind definitely doesn't have any breathing room, with Marchand very, very close around him. They all go through the Schumacher wall. Just looking behind, see if we can see. It looks like Marchand's actually managed to get past Rob Freckleton there. So Marchand's on the move to try and move up a little bit further, with Harris Ahmed just behind. But the leader's now coming under the Monster Energy Bridge for what we think is going to be the final time during this heat. Into first hairpin, it looks like Dillon's going defensive again. Kieran Eve not able to chuck it down the inside again, defensive for Dante Dillon. We've seen him in this position many, many times. The last time we saw him, it was in the final. Harrison Kirkham's trying to go around the outside, didn't quite get the move. Checker flag falls. First blood to Dante Dillon, 1.9 tenths was the advantage to Kieran Eve. And Harrison Kirkham coming across the line 4 tenths away from the leader. Marchand did manage to get Freckleton on the final tour of the circuit. Not sure where that move happened, but Freckleton down to 5th. Harris Ahmed in 6th. Harrison Earl in P7. Harvey Sharman in P8. Oscar Buckley comes home 9th. Tom Shaw in P10. Then outside the top 10, Blake Parkinson, McKinley Coburn, Ross Fitzgerald, Paul Thomas, Luke Mallard. And after that early spin on the opening lap, Dan Webber rounds out the field. That was a fantastic start, and definitely shows that Dillon's not going to have this all his own way like we've seen in previous years.
Indeed, and it was strange that he had to defend so much all the way through after those
we used to seeing him just try and run away at the front of the field, and this year that's not happened. Is this proof that he's fallible?
Indeed, I think he definitely is fallible, and there's no doubt about that. There's too much talent out there to mean that he's got an easy run to this championship. We could make like a retirement home for like
retirement home
employees
for
get
karters.
To a certain point, and then they get drafted out to like Hawaii. And
now isn't that an idea?
That's a brilliant idea.
There you go. There's an idea for you to put to Simon later on today. Then
I think he'll be up for that. I'll be honest.
Awesome. So drivers now ready to go racing for their second and final heat. It's just one more heat for the other group to come after this. So it's Dillon, Kirkham, Freckleton, Ahmed, Eve, Marchand, Buckley, Earl, Shaw, Sharman, Parkinson, Thomas, Fitzgerald, Coburn, Webber and Mallard. We've already seen how quick Kieran Eve can be. Is he going to get a good start here? We watch the gantry, lights go green once again. We are racing here at Team Sport Warrington. Dillon to the inside. Looks like Freckleton's going to throw it down the inside of Harrison Kirkham. He's wasting no time in trying to make moves, but Kirkham holds on as it looks like Harris Ahmed now trying to go around the outside of Kieran Eve, who's up in 4th
position. A better start from Dillon.
It's a very good start there from Dylan and for Ahmed as well. Eve's been forced out wide now. It looks like Lewis Marchand's gone down the inside of him. So Eve, we saw making all the moves in the first race. He's falling behind now. So he's behind Marchant in, I believe, that is 6th position. So instead of gaining places off the start, he's actually lost them. And you see Freckleton now, with that penalty from the previous race, he is absolutely flying here, trying to get past Harrison Kirkham, but Dante Dillon's opened up a gap already. Looks like Freckleton's pushing. Harrison Kirkham already going defensive. The 21 of Freckleton, he's trying to go around the outside. Fast. Is he going to try and undercut
Look at this, he's going to swing in surely.
Is he going to be able
He's
to get
going to go for it. He's got a bit of an overspeed.
He's not quite able to get enough speed over the line. Dante Dillon leads us away here. 1.5 seconds is already the gap. And that's because Harrison Kirkham is fighting off Rob Freckleton. Harris Ahmed's in this one as well. Oscar Buckley's up to 5th. Kieran Eve down 6th. Lewis Marchant in 7th. Blake Parkinson, Harrison Earl, Tom Shaw, Harvey Sharman has fallen all the way down to 50th. There goes Freckleton down the inside straight away. Goes Rob Freckleton on Harrison Kirkham. It looked like it was going to come, and it did straight away. So
however,
now,
with that kind of pace, Tom, with that kind of pace, what can Rob Freckleton do about Dante Dillon? Because there's no doubt that there is serious pace in Rob, and let's see. There's a gap of about, I would say that's a big gap. That's about 3 seconds, I would say. But it's early days. We've got a long time to go in this heat, and let's see what Rob can do, because he came, was it 4th or 5th in the first heat? He's got some ground to make up.
Yeah, over the start-finish line. Let's see what the gap is that Freckleton's got to make up. 2.4 seconds is the gap, and Harrison Kirkham's got his hands full of Harris Ahmed there for 3rd position. Fastest lap, Dante Dillon, 58.5. He's absolutely flying away. This is the sort of performance we're used to seeing from the Quali driver, but Harrison Kirkham has his hands full. He's also got Oscar Buckley, Kieran Eve, Lewis Marchant and Blake Parkinson lining up to have a crack at his podium paying position. And Harris Ahmed is a very, very racy driver. He's not going to waste much time in trying to get through. If there is a gap, you can be sure that he's going to try and find a way to put his kart into it. Down the ramp they go. Rob Freckleton's already opened up a big gap. I reckon that's probably going to be about a second as they come over the line. It's going to be interesting to see what the gap is to Dillon, as it looks like that has come down. A little bit further behind, it looks like that's Harrison Earl and Ross Fitzgerald having a good little fight there. They're going side by side into the second hairpin.
Harrison Kirkham sliding around there, Tom.
Kirkham's not happy with that car. He's definitely not bonding with that one. As they now go into the bottom section of the circuit, the gap at the lead is 3 seconds, but 1.8 to Freckleton in second. So Rob has checked out from this fight for 3rd place, and now Harrison Kirkham has a line of karts trying to find a way through here.
Great lap time from Dante Dillon, 58.4.
Oh, there we go. Harris has got him. Harris down the inside. Kirkham went wide. Maybe that's going to have allowed Oscar Buckley in there as well. Kieran Eves trying to make a move, but he may be about to lose the position to Lewis Marchant. You've also got Blake Parkinson in the 13 is right behind this, but they all just about hang on, but that has released Harris Ahmed into 3rd place. Checks over his shoulder. He can see there's no one there. And now Harrison Kirkham trying to fight over 4th place and see if he can keep Oscar Buckley now behind. Buckley again is looking very, very racy as Kirkham is just starting to get a full train of karts piling up behind him to see what they can do about his 4th place. Over the line, Dillon is
Paul Thomas goes to the back. He's got a time penalty of 5 seconds, so on the timing he moves to the back. But what a battle we've got here. We've got Dante Dillon leading. He's definitely got pace. He managed to get a fantastic start with Rob having to find his way past drivers. It really slowed everybody down and just enabled Dante Dillon to move away, and he's currently got a 3.3 second lap time advantage.
That looks like Lewis Marchant's just made a very good move there, and he's now back up. He's now up behind Kieran Eve, I think. Looks like they were 3 wide up the ramp. That's very, very brave to be able to do that. Kirkham just looks over his shoulder just to see if anyone's there. And now he's got his sparring partner from the previous heat, Kieran Eve, just behind him. So let's see what can happen. What happens here as they now go into the top end of the circuit. Looks like I think Marchant managed to get past Buckley. So Buckley lost out on 2 positions there. One to Kieran Eve, one to Lewis Marchant as they come over the line. 58.4 is the fastest lap of the race and that belongs to our leader, Dante Dillon. 3.8 seconds is the gap, as Rob Freckleton's also into the 58. Harris Ahmed 7 seconds off the lead, and about 3 and a bit seconds to try and catch up to Rob Freckleton. This is the fight for fourth that we're watching at the moment. There's P2, Rob Freckleton going up onto the flyover. There's Harris Ahmed, and he's got a massive train of karts, with all being led by Harrison Kirkham. We've got everyone down to Harvey Sharman in that pack, in what I believe is 14th place on the road, but our leader is flying away here. He's heading down in towards the first hairpin. The rest of the field still fighting up on the flyover.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And even though Rob Frampton is fast, he's only really, well, he is fast. He's much faster than what's going on behind him, but still not quite on the pace of Dante Dillon. And he's in kart 4. Kart 4 got removed, obviously, for that plug cap, and they got fixed to put back in the fleet, and kart 4 is already at the front, absolutely doing the business. But 58.423, that is the fastest lap of the event so far from Dante Dillon. So it is looking very, very good here for a win, and that would make it 2 wins in succession for the reigning champion.
You sure they fixed that car and didn't fit it with nitrous or an electric motor or something like that? We wondered why the pace car was going a bit slow. Half of its engine, half of its motors gone into the back of that car. It's certainly propelling Dante Dillon away, but that gap now is starting to stabilise at about 4 seconds at the front. Harrison Kirkham, though, is doing extremely well to try and hold off Kieran Eve as they now go down the back straight. They're going under the Monster Energy Bridge. You just see them flying through the left-right chicane as they come through down towards the first hairpin. Harris Ahmed is checking out a little bit. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of Harrison Kirkham in this fight that we're watching right now. So Lewis Marchant's in there. Oscar Buckley, who is in kart 7, he's in there as well, and he's looking very, very racy behind Marchant, so maybe he's going to try and pull a move. Just behind is Harrison Earl, Blake Parkinson and Ross Fitzgerald. They're locked in a battle of their own. Tom Shaw, McKinley Coburn, Luke Mallard, Harvey Sharman, Dan Webber and Paul Thomas with that penalty is in P16 on the scores. He's up in about 13th on the road. As they now go on to the top section once again. Kirkham maybe just a little check over his shoulder, just seeing where Kieran Eve is. Kieran Eve's going to be right on the bumper and breathing down his neck. So as they go through the bottom hairpin there, this group of 4 do have a little bit of breathing room maybe on the guys just behind them. So Oscar Buckley in the pound seat here. He can just afford to attack. Everyone else just has to keep one eye on what is coming up behind them. As already over the line once again is Dante Dillon, getting on to what we believe will be getting towards the final lap of this heat, as they now go into the top section of the bottom section of the circuit. Over the line once again, there is our leader, Dante Dillon. 3.9 seconds is the gap to Rob Freckleton, so the pace just dropped off a little bit.
But Rob needs this, Tom,
Freckleton was actually 0.3 of a second quicker, and after that penalty, dropping him down to 10th position, second is exactly what he needs right now.
But Rob needs this because of 5-second penalty he already had in his previous heat. Yeah. So that would have cost him a whole hatful of points. So second place here is more of a damage limitation, I would say, for Rob during the heats. It's going to give him a, I don't know, grid position 4th, 5th, that kind of thing.
Yes,
but on the way he's driving today, you wouldn't rule him out doing some serious progress from that point, and maybe getting into the top 3.
Through the semis pretty well, he may be able to challenge the driver about to take the checkered flag here. So Dante Dillon comes over the line, records another heat win. Freckleton's going to come across the line second. Harris Ahmed is going to be third, then everyone fighting over 4th. So Harrison Kirkham's put up a great defence on Kieran Eve, and they come over the line with Lewis Marchant and Oscar Buckley just behind. So 2 for 2 for Dante Dillon. 58.4 is the fastest lap we've seen out of the lightweights so far. Still about 0.4 off the outright pace we've seen in this class. But Dante Dillon now, just maybe, as he's starting to show his cards. That being said, Freckleton only a 10th behind him in terms of lap time, and has been matching him in the last couple of laps. So even though he's had a solid heat win here, it still may not go all his own way, and he's still got to deal with the likes of Luke Evans, who was absolutely flying in that second group. And
it has to be said, there is a lot on the live stream about, wow, what a drive. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed with Dante Dillon in that last race, Tom, if I'll be honest. He only won it by 4 seconds, got a lap time of 58.423 seconds. And even when we thought we had a race, when Rob Freckleton got into second position and looked really racy, didn't really happen one little bit. Great job for Dante Dillon, fantastic drive. That's 2 races with maximum points, no penalties, and Dante Dillon, the reigning champion, has really made it clear that he means business and he wants that triple champion. We'll have to build some kind of statue of him.
Yeah,
you know
he's just proving why you're a double champion, no matter what the series is, no matter what your competition's like. To have won a title back to back is a mean feat, and now he's got the very rare opportunity of being of taking the honour of the first triple champion. Semi-final, here's pole sitter Dante Dillon heading onto the grid with that chrome red and gold helmet. It's a fantastic design. Luke Evans as well is a real standout there, as Dillon now is making a final adjustment to his car, making sure he's all nice and comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good shot of his crash helmet there, isn't it? It's a very, very good crash helmet that Dante Dillon has got.
Yeah, he's even gone out and made sure to code his hands posts that are on the side, to colour code the hands post there. It's a very, very nice design. You see the GoPro on the front of Luke Evans. He's probably going to get some very good shots of the back of that kart. He hopes he's only going to get one shot of the back of it as he gets through at the start.
So we're going to focus obviously on who's going to win, but we're also going to focus on who is going to make it into the grand final, because as Tom says, it is top 8 to go through. So at the moment, Oscar Buckley will make it through, but Oliver Bailey will miss out. But obviously there's 12 minutes of completely intense racing coming up. That might change that, and probably will change that. Just a few photographs going on. Lots of stuff going on social media with everything that we're doing this weekend. It's weird, isn't it, when you get home and you have a look at social media and it's flooded with what you've done in the day. You know what I mean?
It's like, oh, I was there. I saw that. That's me. Some very aggressive tyre warming already getting starting off as the drivers now roll for the first of the semi-finals, being led away by Dave Greger in the pace kart. So 2 by 2 they go. Dillon, Evans, Kirkham, Ahmed, Dinalov, Chmielewski, Harrison, Buckley, Bailey, Parkinson, Fitzgerald, Chung, Sawyer, Norman, Mallard and Webber are the drivers. They're going to be contesting this 12-minute race. 16 drivers. We only have space for 8 of them. We watch the lights and we get ready to go racing here in the semi-finals. Just 8 drivers qualify. Now it's time to fight over, and it looks like already Harrison Kirkham has managed to get past Luke Evans. Made a good move down the inside. So Evans trying to come back at him though, but Kirkham is around the inside. There. Looks like Dinalov is also down the inside of Luke Evans. So Evans already down into 4th place. What we see, big contact in the tunnel. Lots of drivers. Evans has come out of that one, and I can't see Kirkham. Kirkham's about halfway through here, and it looks like Kieran Harrison is there in 3rd place behind all of these. So it is all kicked off. Is that Ollie Bailey that's up into P5 as well from 9th on the grid? That's a flying start if he's got through there cleanly. It looks like he's got Marcel Chmielewski just behind him, Oscar Buckley, and I think that is I can't pick that last kart out.
I think
maybe
Luke Evans
Oscar
did
Buckley
really well to come through that and still hold 2nd position, because at one point it didn't look like, if I thought he was going to fall down the order and end up 4th or 5th. That's pretty chaotic. I think the steward's going to have a little look at that. All the action there on lap 1 underneath the flyover, but as it stands, Dante Dillon has hit the front early, and he has a 1.9 second advantage over Luke Evans. Now we've seen the racecraft from Luke has really been there all the way through this morning's racing, but from Luke now we need to see the speed. We need to see if he can match Dante Dillon's lap times, or even reel him in and have a go at Dante Dillon, because that would be a big, if he could do that, that would kick Dante Dillon potentially off the front row for the grand final. So it's a lot in Luke Evans' hands here, and I think let's see, I think he's going to be on Dante Dillon's pace at least. I think let's see what happens.
Yeah, some big losers in that. Mario Dinalov's down in 10th at the moment. Oscar Bailey's down in 13th. This is Harrison Kirkham versus Kieran Harrison as they go through the top end of the circuit. Dillon comes over the line, 2.5 seconds to the good ahead of Luke Evans. Harris Ahmed there in 3rd place. Kieran Harrison Kirkham, Ollie Bailey up into P6 after that conflagration in the tunnel. Marcel Chmielewski in 7th. Blake Parkinson currently holding the final grand final paying position. Blake Parkinson, Zachary Chung though is right on his rear bumper, so that fight is going to be intense. Watching Luke Evans, who's ahead of Harris Ahmed. And they're now firing through the bottom section of the circuit. 58.8 already, the fastest lap from Dante Dillon. He is wasting 0 time trying to run away at the front of the field. This is the performance we're used to in previous years from Dillon, as it looks like the closest fight inside the top 8 is between Kieran Harrison and Harrison Kirkham.
But let's see the lap times at the end of this lap, because has Luke Evans been able to make any impact at all? So there goes Dante over the line. It was 2.5, 2.9. See, on that last lap, 0.4 quicker on a single lap. Dante, that's the reason why, and you can see it on the screen. Dante Dillon, 58.711. He is just getting quicker and quicker with every single lap. Luke Evans second, of course, who said Harris Ahmed is third. Kieran Harrison is fourth. Harrison Kirkham is fifth. Oliver Bailey is in sixth. Then it's Marcel and Blake Parkinson with that grand final position. Zachary Chung is the driver who is missing out at the moment on the grand final.
Yeah, Chung, the one in the blue suit with the neon yellow helmet. They're just behind this pack here as a 5-second penalty comes up for Mario Dinilov. We're guessing that is going to be for his part in the incident in the tunnel, so that puts Dinilov down and out of this one, unless he can find an absolute miracle. You can just see him in the back of shot there, but we're looking at Harrison Kirkham in P5. He's got hometown driver Ollie Bailey on his rear bumper. Marcel Chmielewski, Blake Parkinson's just behind. That is the final qualifying position with Zachary Chung trying to hunt him down, as Dante Dillon now 3.1 seconds clear at the front of this one. A 58.6 contact there between Bailey and Kirkham. Kirkham shakes his head. Chmielewski throws it down the inside of Bailey's on the outside for the tunnel, and it looks like Parkinson's in this one as well. Parkinson's gone down the inside of Chmielewski. This has brought Zachary Chung into this one. So now 5 karts here, only space of 4 of them in the main event. One of them, when the music stops, is going to be left without a seat in the main event, but Harrison Kirkham still holding on as they head down the back straight and onto the straight down by the pit lane under the Monster Energy Bridge. Kieran Harrison, those broken away, and he's now set off in pursuit of Harris Ahmed. That gap looks like it has come down, and I can see, is that the 21 of Luke Mallard trying to get into this one as well. Bailey versus Kirkham.
Oh, there's a move.
Parkinson down the inside again. Of Bailey. He's picked up 2 places on the inside.
Will he make it?
On Bailey though. Bailey gets shown the wall. Chmielewski is going to maybe go through here side by side into Century Sim corner. He's not close enough to go for it. Bailey down to 7th as Blake Parkinson from 8th moves up into P6 and cements his position at the moment in the main event. We've got Zachary Chung and Mario Dinilov now, who's carrying that 10-second penalty, closing up onto the back of this one, but all of that fighting has just started to let Harrison Kirkham get away here and give him a little bit of breathing room. Over the line, he had about 8/10 in his back pocket.
And in this battle, Tom, half of them are in the final and half of them are not in the final in the battle that we are watching in this particular moment in time. So Zachary Chung is literally right there. He's the first driver that could move into a grand final position. But of this battle, as they all absolutely go piling through, half them are in and half them aren't. That's the difference. That's what they've got to make up. That's what they've got to change over the next 5 laps or so. Dante Dillon, 58.349. Now we're on the ultimate pace, Tom.
Yeah,
now we're on
really
the kind of speed that is very, very noteworthy. 58.3 is a magic lap round here. That's one of the fastest laps we have seen this weekend for juniors. Yesterday afternoon, they got into the 58.3s, and the lightweights already in that zone. So can we go quicker? Can we go quicker, Dante? You've got another 4 laps. Can you beat a 58.349? And Luke Evans has now fallen back to 4.2 seconds. You get the feeling that we get to the final. It's looking very likely that Dante Dillon will be on pole position for the grand final. You get the impression that whoever's second has got to make the move, has got to get it done early, has got to get in front of Dante Dillon. I think that's the only way that Dante is going to be beaten here this afternoon.
Yes, it's going to take a lot to try and remove that championship title away from Dante Dillon. But you can just see drivers now trying to fight their way through. Look at the 9 of Kieran Harrison. He's got Harris Ahmed just in front of him. It looks like that gap has been coming down over the last couple of laps. It was 2 or 3 seconds at one point. That gap is now down to about 1.2 seconds. Luke Evans just in front of them. They're about 1.5 seconds clear of them. And you'll see quite a lot of these drivers. They're carrying different university titles on them. So you've got University of Leeds on the back of Kieran Harrison there. Dante Dillon wearing the crest of Nottingham Trent University as well as they go down the back section of the circuit. It's great to see some of these drivers not only representing their circuits but also various different teams, institutions as well.
And Jen has been in touch, Tom, to say that the contact underneath the mezzanine on lap 1, she's got it on her gem pad and it will be reviewed when we get to the break after the second semi-final, and we will talk everything through it. She's saying that it was started from a contact coming from the back of the pack and kind of filtered through the pack as they went through that corner. Yeah, but she's got that all lined up for us when it comes to the studio break.
16 into 1 didn't quite go. The first 2 got through and then everyone wanted the exact same piece of tarmac. But we'll take a decent look at that before we get into the main event. Looking at Harrison Kirkham now, he's just broken away a little bit from Ollie Bailey, who's overtaken back Blake Parkinson in the last lap. Marcel Chmielewski is currently the driver holding on to the final podium, the final qualifying position. Kart number 7 has 19 of Zachary Chung still knocking on the door, but he's got 1.5 seconds to try and catch up before he can have a crack at them. Despite that penalty, Mario Dinilov now in 12th position, so that's a decent run for him at the moment, despite all of that contact earlier on. Oscar Buckley still in 10th after that earlier contact.
58.261. That is the fastest lap time of BIKC this weekend. Dante Dillon, 58.261. He is flying 6.1 second lead over Luke Evans.
Yeah, you'd expect the ultimate pace to come in the finals. Looks like Dillon's starting to show all of his cards now, and he's no longer holding them close to his chest. He's just stamping authority on proceedings here. It's quite literally a case of come and have a go if you think you're fast enough, guys. Luke Evans 6.1 seconds behind. That's not to say that Luke isn't a quick driver. He's in the 58.8 as well. Harris Ahmed 58.7, Kieran Harrison 58.7. Just looks like Dante Dillon at the moment is in a completely different league compared to everyone else. You see how big the gap is. He's going through the third hairpin as the guys in second and third are coming through the first sets of hairpins. Over the line, we'll see what this one is now. Is he gone any quicker? It's a 58.3 for Dante Dillon. Meanwhile, still Harrison Kirkham holding on in 5th place as they come over the line. We're waiting to see. Last time over the line now, so if you're going to make a move into finals, guys, you're going to have to try and make the move now. So Ollie Bailey has 7/10 in hand over Blake Parkinson. Oscar Bailey, Mario Dinilov dropped.
Look at 19 trying to on the inside there. That didn't quite come off.
That's Zachary Chung on Oscar Bailey. Oscar Bailey's managed to get through on Zachary Chung. So Oscar Bailey's got 1 lap potentially to try and catch up to the drivers that are sat in front of him. Get himself into 8th place. He's got to dispose of Mario Dinilov first. Meanwhile, we're talking about these guys. They go up onto flyover. Dante Dillon's about to come through, take the checker flag, and he is only about a corner or so from home. He's absolutely flown through this race. He comes over the line, checker flag flies. You can see how happy he is with that one. Dominant performance in this semi-final from Dante Dillon. If that's the semi-final, God knows what we're in store for in the final. 7.6 seconds. Look at the line. Luke Evans in 2nd place. Harris Ahmed, Kieran Harrison, Harrison Kirkham home in 5th. Ollie Bailey home in 6th. Blake Parkinson and Marcel Chmielewski takes the last qualifying position. What that means is we have to say goodbye to Oscar Buckley, Zachary Chung, Luke Mallard, Mario Dinilov.
10 seconds, kart 13 contact. That's Buckley.
Oscar Bailey dropped. Oscar Buckley, sorry, just been dropped right to the back of the field then. So the steward's taking a look at everything during the race. So that promotes Dinilov into 11th still. And then you've also got the 19 of Harrison Kirkham. As here comes your pole man. He's going to go down the middle and move into first position.
Is it ominous to see him drive past?
That is quite that is quite an ominous view.
That is quite ominous, isn't it?
He's just coming through the entire pack and just parks it on pole position. Now we've seen Dillon run away at the front in this one. We've seen him had to fight as well. And that glittered lid looks absolutely fantastic out there, and people have had quite a good view of the back of it
few
today.
close-ups here. That's good. That's a cracker. Yeah, very, very good.
So, drivers move away here at Team Sport Warrington, and we are going to get ready to go racing here. Looks like we are having issues with the live timing, so we're going to have to call this one as we
call this
see
manually,
it.
Tom. This is where the skill of the commentators comes in.
That means we are absolutely snookered. But as you come through the second hairpin now, it is Dante Dillon, Ben Sproat on the front row, Kieran Eve and Luke Evans on row number 2. The pace car leads us through, and we are now waiting for a green light. The driver's going to come under the Dunlop Bridge, and we are going to get ready to go racing. Pace car drops the throttle, wait for the lights to go green. They're holding yellow, green, green, green. We are racing here for the final time in lightweight. Bit of a slow start at the back, but Dante Dillon is in the lead. Evans now making a move on Ben Sproat. They're 3 and 4 wide as they come through the back section of the circuit. Quite a lot of contact there. That looks like Harris Ahmed's got down the inside of Kieran Eve. He's on the outside for the next corner, but advantage Dante Dillon as he starts to run away at the front of this one. And I think that's Harrison Earl in the 7 has been pushed wide a little bit as they go up onto the top section. Dillon already has a gap of a couple of kart lengths as they come down onto the back straight. As they come down onto the back straight, they're going to go under the Monster Energy Bridge, very wide for Luke Evans as the entire field files through. But it is Dillon, Sproat, Evans, Kieran Eve. They are your top 4 as we head onto the back section of the circuit now. That looks like Kieran Harrison is there in 5th place. Harris Ahmed's just behind him, and I think he's got Lewis Marchant there for company, as well as that is Rob Freckleton and Harrison Kirkham in there as well. Over the line for the first time, Dante Dillon's your leader, Ben Sproat 2nd, Luke Evans in 3rd, Kieran Eve in P4, and Dillon already having a couple of kart lengths between him and Sproat. Sproat, though, starting to get away from Luke Evans in 2nd place.
And this is exactly what they did not want to happen. They've allowed Dante Dillon to get into the lead of the race. Now, we've seen Dante Dillon put in these lap times that have made him the fastest driver of the event so far, clocking lap times of 58.2 seconds, which is absolutely unbelievable. So now it really is. He's going to have to do it the hard way. He's going to have to do it the hard way. Sproat has got to hunt down the fastest driver of the event so far and see if he can beat him. But you know what? At this particular moment in time, he looks the quicker of the two. It has to be said. And Dante Dillon, is he going to end up running a defensive race here? Because at the moment, driver number 13, Sproat, looks like he is hooked up.
Yeah, so over the line once again. That's the end of lap number 2, on to lap number 3. Sproat is not letting Dillon get away here. We're now 2 minutes into this race as they go through the top section of the track. They're going to head under the tunnel section. Sproat is catching, he's reeling him in here. Dillon has really backed off as they go up onto the mezzanine section. Sproat is right on his rear bumper.
It's going to happen.
Looks like that is Luke Evans, 3rd place. He's having a little bit of a fight there. I saw a hand go up, but it is now Sproat versus Dillon. This is for the champion. As Revolution Audio clearly having a little bit of fun. Now the timing screens are down as we head onto the main straight. There we go. Dillon's looked over. He now knows that Sproat is there. They've got and he can also see they've got a big gap between Evans and Eve in 2nd and 3rd. Still
and
behind.
Dillon goes defensive already. Already going defensive. Sproat knows he's just got to pick him off here. Whatever the reputation of Dante Dillon, right? I think driver number 30, he's looking behind him, not a problem. He's got his visor at mine, but we won't talk about that because Luke Evans in 3rd place, he's nowhere near. And this is the time, he's going to win this.
Sproat's
he's going to win this final. He's got to make it happen now.
Sproat's looking for a move. He's trying to look left and right. He's trying to find a way to get past the defending champion as they head up onto the top section of the track. Dillon is already going defensive down that straight and up the ramp. He's just trying now to hold Ben Sproat at arm's length. We've seen him in this sort of position before, and he's been able to come out on top. Is it going to be a 3rd title in 3 years, or is it going to be a 1st title for Ben Sproat as they now come down?
Him.
He's looking over his shoulder. He could just see that he's there, and all the time that gap for 3rd place is starting to come down as well. Luke Evans and Kieran Eve are coming back into this one.
This is going to be a 4-kart battle.
It could very well be 4 cars for the lead. I think that is Kieran Harrison behind. And we do have technical difficulties with the timing system, and they are trying to point it out to us. But as we go over the line, it's Dillon, Sproat. That's how close they are. Then it's Evans and Eve, they're extremely close, and they're starting to fight from what I can see as well. But as they come through the tunnel section once again, these guys are really, really nose to tail. They've just got to be careful now, not do anything daft, and make sure they can get through. This race is another 10 minutes to go. So effectively, we've had 5 minutes of close racing already, and now we've got yet another heat worth of racing left to go.
Okay, and it's not now starting to settle down. It is going to be a defensive drive from Dante Dillon. There's no question about that. Ben Sproat has got serious more pace in this grand final than Dante Dillon. And Dante Dillon knows exactly what the score is here. And we saw him do this in one of his heats. In his first heat, he didn't have the pace, but he still was able to control the race. He still was able to bring that kart home in first position. Ben Sproat, though, this is the opportunity. He's still got that gap between himself and Luke Evans in third place. But that might not always be the case. So it's got to happen now. You've got to take any opportunity, any chance to get in front of Dante Dillon. He has got to take it, because that's the only way he's going to win. A more defensive driving from Dante Dillon there, going onto the up ramp there. And he is really just placing that kart exactly where he needs to stay in front.
Yeah, so as they head now through the hairpin and get ready to drop down onto the ramp and go under the Monster Energy Bridge once again. Again, another look over the shoulder here. Dillon is just holding Ben Sproat at arm's length. We know that both of these drivers are exceptionally quick, and both of them have been in this situation before. However, Dillon has come out on top twice. He knows what it takes to win a championship. Sproat is trying to go for his first. As it looks like behind, it looks like Eve and Evans are also fighting. That's dropping them away from this fight. So it's still 2 by 2 over the line they go, and it looks like Dillon now has a little bit of a bigger gap. That gap now up to 2 or 3 maybe 4 kart lengths ahead of Ben Sproat. So has Dillon just started to settle down? Maybe this the tide is coming back to him, and maybe he's just starting to push away. Doesn't look like
is it opportunity lost, Tom? As I was saying, is it now that Dante Dillon is just starting to edge away? Is it the chance for golden opportunity that Ben Sproat had? Has it gone?
We said this in juniors, that if you wanted to make a move, it would have to have been quick. However, right now, it looks like Sproat's time is starting to run out, maybe. Dillon can just see that gap is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger as they go through the top section of the track. They're now heading past the pit lane, one of the fastest parts of the circuit. That gap does look a little bit bigger between the pair of them at the front. It also looks like they're starting to drop away from Evan. They're starting to get away. Oh, spinner at the back. Looks like that's Luke March and Rob Freckleton's in there as well. Rob's not had a good time at this one. Lights are on yellow. They both get themselves going. They've both fallen way down the order back to green. And Freckleton's fed back out in front of Chmielewski and Harrison
Okay,
Kirkham.
let's see if that has affected the gap for the lead, because the gap for the lead was very, very slender. We did see Luke Evans earlier on overtake somebody when the yellows went off. Was very, very sharp, and the gap is down now. The gap is back, and I tell you what, he had a look right there. On his Ben Sproat had a look. He's looking behind. Don't need to look behind. Don't worry about what's happening behind you. Look about what's happening in front, because you can still do this. You can still win. Okay, here we go. We are now. We are just see if we can get the live timing back on. I do apologise for everybody who is at home. We are working. We can't see it either. So we are working as hard as we can to get that back up. But at the moment, let's go back to the racing. Once again, it is Dante Dillon. And again, he looks like he is suddenly able. He's found some pace. And that's what great champions do, Tom. He's found some pace and is able to pull away and put a few tenths, maybe even a second there, I think, between himself and Ben Sproat. So once again, we are about halfway through the race at the moment, and Dante Dillon is showing his class.
Yeah, so Dillon, it looked like Sproat made a small mistake when he came into the hairpin last time around. That's just cost him a little bit of time. However, it looks like Evans has his rear bumper covered with Kieran Eve. That looks like Harris Ahmed and Kieran Harrison on the back bumper of them as they go through the top section of the track. This the fight over the final podium paying position. Evans has held it for the majority of the race. However, Eve, Ahmed and Harrison are all trying to get themselves on to the final step of the podium. About 6 minutes left on the clock. That's possibly about 5 laps if these guys can keep this sort of pace up. Evans is going extremely defensive. to try and hold Eve at bay, but Dylan is still out in front. He's still starting to pull a bit of a gap. That gap now is definitely increasing. I think Sproat's opportunity may have already been and gone, and he's going to have to try and consolidate in second place as they now head on to the bottom section of the track and get ready to head up onto flyover. There is James McGinn, kart number 3. He looks like he's made up quite a few positions already. Remember, he qualified dead last in this race. They're now going to get ready to go on the top section. He's now got Rob Freckleton just in front of him as we get the full order here. So Dylan leads with Sproat in second, Evans, Eve, Ahmed, Harrison, Bailey, Marchant, Earl, Coburn in 10th place. McGinn is up to 11th from the back of the grid. Freckleton, Kirkham, Chmielewski, Sharman and Parkinson is your order, but we're now watching the leaders, Dante Dillon, over towards the start-finish line with about 5 minutes left on the clock here. Anything can happen.
But he's still not clearing off, I would say. It looked like suddenly he was able to put a second between himself and Ben Sproat, but that gap is coming down now. It's less than a second. So it is strange. The change in pace here is a little bit odd in the fact that suddenly Dylan had no pace and Sproat had it all. Then Dylan is able to pull away, and then suddenly back comes Sproat again, and Sproat is noticeably closing on Dante Dillon, and he's just got a few more kart lengths to go, and he'll be right there on that rear bumper. And then will we see Dante Dillon transform once again back into the defensive driving style that we have seen? He's looking behind, so he's obviously a little bit bothered by what is going on here, because kart 28, Dante Dillon goes on to the fastest part of the circuit. Behind him is Ben Sproat, and once again Ben Sproat is looking really, really racy. Did Ben Sproat just take a couple laps to back off, a couple laps to take a bit of a breather before he goes back into attack mode? And are we seeing the results of that attack mode right now?
Yeah, so before the previous lap, fastest lap was in the hand of Dante Dillon. He's lapping the circuit in 58.4. Sproat's been round in a 58.6. They're now getting ready to head on to the top section of the track once again, and Sproat is definitely closer this time around, and they are definitely pulling away still from Evans in third place. Eve is still tucked up behind him from what we can see. However, Dillon and Sproat, that gap is closing. Is Sproat trying to set this up for a last lap battle? You can already see these guys have a mega gap over the rest of the field. They're now heading down under the Monster Energy Bridge. Sproat is definitely closer this time around. Is he going to be able to throw a move into the first hairpin? He's not close enough this time, I reckon. Looking at the time, these guys possibly have 2, maybe 3
right there
laps.
now.
He's right there. That gap is about half the distance it was the last time. Sproat has just maybe found another gear here. Dillon looks over his shoulder. That gap has definitely halved over the previous lap. Sproat is on fire right now. Dillon, though, trying everything they can to keep them at bay. 28 versus 13. These two drivers been at the front of their respective groups. It's the first time they've met on circuit today, and it's an absolute showdown between the pair of them. Sproat is pushing Dillon up the ramp here. That gap is now gone right down. It's gone from a couple of kart lengths. It's now down to a couple of inches as they fire through the top section of the track down into the small ramp. They're going to be coming round, most likely to take the final lap board this time around. Dillon looks over his shoulder. He can see that Sproat is a little bit closer this time. We've seen him in this position before, and he's still been able to take it.
He's absolutely right there as we go through. This is going to be surely one more lap after this one. So we're running out of opportunities. Ben Sproat, I thought he was going to run inside there. Dillon knew it, and he literally covered that off. He knows he's got to be batting really shrewd here.
He's looking more and more.
Cards exactly right. Because
defensive into Century Sim corner. Sproat now towards the outside.
Was alongside for a second.
This is literally going to come down to a last.
And the yellows.
Gone red.
Kart 7.
Oh, we saw this last time. It's a last-second red flag. What that's going to mean is we're now in for a restart here. This is going to be.
And we can't see what's going on.
We're in an Abu Dhabi situation here. It's going to be one lap to decide the champion.
Indeed.
Oh no.
And somebody might end up on cold tyres. It's Abu Dhabi 2021.
How have we done this?
Michael, no!
No, James, no. This is... No, don't do this to us. But you've now got our technical guy, Mr. Beale, is heading over. He's going to inspect the kart. It looks like it is going to be a change. And we're going to sort of... That is Harrison Earl, who's up and out of his kart. And we are Going to get him something. We're going to get him something new. But there are our two leaders.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Yeah, just like what happened in Abu Dhabi 2021, we're going to end up with some kind of restart maybe here, possibly.
So
because we're so close to the end of the race, we have to see what happens and what messages come back from race control with regards to what will happen. It might be just
this will be
off
one,
red flag.
possibly 2 laps at most.
Might be. It's a mechanical fault on the kart.
Yeah. So Earl has been given another kart there. So the order that we have here, and this is most likely going to be the order that they're going to line up, is Dylan, Sproat, Evans, Eve, Ahmed, Bailey up to 6th. Then you've got Marchant, Harrison, Coburn up to 9th, Earl, McGing, Chmielewski, Sharman, Parkinson, Kirkham, and then Freckleton. That is the 16 drivers that we have out on circuit at the moment. We're just waiting for word from race control to find out what manner of thing is going to be occurring here.
I think we're just off again.
So
I think it's just a
yellow
simple
at the moment. I'm going to see whether they go green or if we're going to go for a full restart like we saw with the juniors yesterday. Up the flyover. And we're getting ready to go racing here once again. How have we ended up like this again? How has this come down to this?
So they've got to be so sharp under the yellows here, because when we go green, it's probably going to be 1 lap. It's going to be safety car.
Yeah, so we're going for a rolling restart, just like we saw last time. So this is quite literally going to be 1 or 2 laps to the flag. How has it ended up like this? How are we about to decide our 2022 BIKC champion from literally what is going to be a 1 lap sprint from our maths? We'll just double check it with race control just to make sure that it is a 1 lap sprint that we are in store for. However, I think that may be how things do end up for us.
Complete new rolling start. So
here we
everything has been equalised, and I'm going to hand you over to Tom, who will take you through the final lap. We think it's going to be a lap. We do think it's going to be a lap. We'll have to have a quick look, but I would have thought it's going to be
looking at the clock here, it is going to be a 1 lap sprint to the finish. For those questioning why Harrison Earl is showing up in P15 when he crosses the line, he won't be. They've gone back a lap, counted back under the red flag. However, we have ended up with quite literally a 1 lap sprint to decide our 2022 lightweight champion. Quite literally, I hope you got a seat for this, guys. You're only going to need the edge of this one. Lights go green. We are racing once again, and Dylan tries to make a quick start. Looks like you've got Ollie Bailey trying to make a move quickly on Kieran Eve. Sproat is going to have to get this done extremely quickly now as they go under the tunnel section. Luke Evans doesn't look close enough to do anything here. Dylan takes his normal line up the ramp. Sproat is right on his rear bumper.
Already a gap
All gets through here cleanly,
third.
guys. Up onto the top section here. Dylan has a little look over his shoulder. He knows that Sproat is still there, but the gap between him and Evans is building down into the bottom hairpin. There's only 1, maybe 2 positions left here for these guys to try and overtake. One last look over the shoulder from Dylan. He knows that Sproat's not there.
Last chance.
Through the chicane. There's literally 1, maybe 2 overtaking spots left. Dylan slightly defensive into the first hairpin. There's no room there. Sproat knocks on the door. There's no space. Dylan is looking over his shoulder. He's 1 corner from home through the S's. It's once, twice, 3 times a champion for Dante Dylan. He wins the lightweight category for 2022. Over the line, Ben Sproat is second, 2/10 the gap. Luke Evans from Cardiff takes home P3. Gentlemen, I doff my cap to you. That was insanity. Extremely well done. The show of respect there from all of them. That's the best result Ben Sproat's had in BIKC. It's the best result for Luke Evans, and 3 times champion for Dante Dylan. You can just see all the drivers there congratulating him. How we ended up in a 1 lap sprint for the finish, I do not know, but that is possibly the best way that could have ended. To confirm your full result there, Dante Dylan takes you win. Ben Sproat with the fastest lap of 58.321 comes home in second place. Luke Evans in third, Kieran E fourth, Harris Ahmed takes home P5. Kieran Harrison comes home in 6th. Ollie Bailey in 7th. McKinley Coburn from the penultimate row of the grid comes home in 8th place. Lewis Margent in 9th. Harrison Earl in 10th. James McGinn from dead last comes home in 11th. Marcel Chmielewski is in 12th place. Blake Parkinson 13th. Harvey Sharman, Rob Freckleton, Harrison, Kirkham are your winners. And 3 cheers to the champion, guys. He has earned it.
Okay, that's fantastic stuff. And we are going to hand down to our man in the pits, Track Rod, as we have called him for some immediate interviews.
How are you? What an absolutely fantastic... My heart's going, so God knows how yours is feeling. How's it going, Luke? 3rd place in the BIKC.
Oh, it's a good feeling. It's definitely where we wanted to be, and a nice top 3 finish was where we were aiming for. So overall happy with the result.
And is there anyone you'd like to thank on this journey that you've come on?
I got to thank my dad, the main supporter. I know he's at home watching now. I know he's rooting for me. Before I've even come off track, I've already got a message on my phone waiting, congratulating me. So definitely thank you to my mum and my dad and all my friends that came here to support me and the whole past racing.
Well, thank you and congratulations. Well deserved. Benjamin, come on over. Benjamin, 2nd place in the BIKC. How are you feeling right now?
Amazing.
Amazing. So, when you had the restart, how did you actually feel in that time?
Awful.
Awful.
Yeah. I had a lead with Dante, wanted a comfortable 2nd at least, maybe push for 1st. Having Lucas behind me added so much pressure to it.
Well, you did yourself incredibly proud today, so well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dante, the man, the legend. We have to stop meeting like this. 3 times BIKC champion. How are you feeling right now?
Feels great. It was obviously a very weird way to end the race. So for me, it was a bit confusing. It's just a 1-lap shootout, you know. It was a really good race. I managed to find some good pace. I managed to make a gap, and then Ben caught up again. Very quick kid. Deserves to come 2nd place. I think he's driven very well all day, and Luke as well drove really well all day. Really pleased. And yeah, I'll go home smiling.
Yeah, you had some really good leads throughout the day, and in that one I noticed you looked behind you a couple of times. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I had to be very aware of my surroundings, when I could defend, when I shouldn't defend, because obviously if I manage to build a big enough gap, there's no point wasting time defending. And that helped me get an initial gap, and then Ben drove very well and caught up again. No, it was an intense race, another duo, exactly like with Zach in the last 2 years. Really enjoyed that one.
Well, congratulations again, done yourself proud. You are truly a legend of karting. Well, thank you very much, and we're going to get ready to do the podium in just a second. So let's make our way over to the other legend of team sport, the man, the meme himself, Mr. Russ Mabley. Russell, who we go to now? Is he having a... Russell? Russell, you're on, Russell, you're on. Here we go. Thank you.
Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we have one thing left to do today, so everybody gather around. But first of all, before we go any further, I'm going to hand you over to somebody. We're going to bring on, first of all, Simon Wooldridge, ladies and gentlemen, the COO of Team Sport Karting, just to say a few words.
Great, thanks, Russ. I think, firstly, that was absolutely amazing to watch. That was heart in the mouth kind of driving, and brilliant racing. I think, firstly, well done to all the drivers. That was exceptional and fantastic to watch. And well done to everybody that's got through to today, because 5,000 drivers have gone through the BIKC. So to have got here is absolutely amazing. So a massive well done. I think also a shout out to all the friends and family that have come along and supported the drivers today, and hopefully thoroughly enjoyed it. Our sponsors as well, shout out to them. Obviously Motorsport UK and their support. We've got Biz Karts as well, Club 100 and Will and the team, Total Karting Zero and also Monster that have supported today, so thank you to them. And last but not least, the amazing crew. Everybody that's put the effort in to make today happen, a load of hard work and effort, so thank you very much to them. All right, back to you.
Okay, ladies, so we do have we've got Will here from Club 100. I'm going to hand you quickly over to Will. The winning driver here today will get a whole load of Club 100 racing next to an entire season, I believe. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Will.
Thank you very much, Russell. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Team Sport, for once again putting on an amazing event. I think you guys do a really, really good job, and your staff are so friendly. It's so nice to be back. Just for anyone who's interested in sort of like moving up from indoor karting and going up, taking that next step, Club 100 is where it's at. It's fantastic. Dante and no races Club 100 for the last couple of years, and races at university level too. So it's high performance outdoor kart racing. And yeah, if you want to take the next step, please come and race with Club 100. And once again, congratulations to Team Sport, all the staff, and the top 3 drivers here today. Well done.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, let's go. We have 3 drivers here, the top drivers of the entire competition, the BIKC 2022 lightweights, and coming in 3rd position. And I was really rooting for you, if I'll be honest, because you had a tough old run last year, it has to be said. And he's come back with absolute vengeance, representing Team Sport Cardiff. 3rd place is Luke Evans! Brilliant stuff. We're going to have a few photos, a little bit of paparazzi will be going on. But we have, right, the top 2. Now, the top 2 were locked in combat all the way through that race. And just when it couldn't get any more exciting, we ended up with a red flag and a 1-lap shootout. How amazing was that? Coming home in 2nd place, an absolutely brilliant drive, and the fastest lap, it is Ben Sprout! Again, we're going to have a few more pictures. They're big trophies, aren't they? They're great. Okay, we have 1 driver left. And I'm not just announcing a champion of BIKC. I am announcing the first triple champion of BIKC. Ladies and gentlemen, he really drove fantastically well all the way through. He was quick when he needed to be, and he drove beautifully defensive lines as well when he needed to be early on in the heats. The first triple BIKC champion at Team Sport goes to the one, the only, the legend, Jonty Dillon! Whoop, whoop! Now here we go again. We're just going to have a little bit of photography. Here we go. Yeah, that's the picture. Fantastic stuff. So we're going to take a few pictures. Coming to social media very, very soon. Probably already there. Okay, yes. So fantastic. Okay, that's good. Now only there's one thing left to do. Those champagne bottles are armed. They're loaded. We think. The champagne! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the event, your BIKC champions of lightweight category 2022. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege of saying the final. I get the final word. How cool is that? I just want to say thank you to everybody for supporting BIKC through 2022. Thank you for all your support. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, because BIKC 2023 will come round sooner than you know. So thank you from everybody here at Team Sport. Thank you and good afternoon.